This video I'm talking about what desperate stupid tricks people try to use to make themselves believe that something is true or persuade other people that what they are thinking, what they are believing, it's absolutely true, and that is the only one way. So when people argue with each other, they try to use a lot of reference, a lot of proof, evidence that they are right. But actually evidence is just what somebody choose to accept. Just a very quick example, that if they find a fingerprint on a gun and somebody chooses this, that this is an evidence that this person killed the other person. No, it's not, because there is a, let's say if it's a fact that this fingerprints or DNA belongs to that person, it has a logical jump. It's making a conclusion based on an assumption that the only thing can explain this, and the consequence is that the person used this gun to kill that person. But it can be a lot of other reasons why the fingerprint or DNA is on that one. So evidence doesn't exist objectively in the real world. There is always a subjective component that somebody accepts the evidence. So there is no evidence objectively. So this is part of, let's say, the scientific argument, which is part of the authority argument, but let's say the scientific. So some people use the science or research, scientific research, to support their points, but they don't understand that for every science, everything, that there is another experiment that proves that it's not really true. Especially, let's say it comes for about the health and the food, and you can have a study to prove something, and you can have another study to prove the opposite of that one. And then of course what people use, that they refer to study. Let's say if you want to prove that this fruit is very healthy for you, let's say avocado, then you can have many studies that you can prove that it has very healthy fat. Okay, but another study will show that, let's say, avocado have healthy fat, but it also has something else, so something other material. So don't use that one. Another more ridiculous example that I heard, that this bun, this sesame bun, it's very healthy because the sesame is healthy, but the person forget that the other 99% of that is unhealthy. Or chocolate is healthy. Yeah, maybe there is a component of the chocolate, but what about the sugar and all the other things there? So if you look at scientific reports and research, then you will find out that there is always that this medicine, if you take it, then it will reduce your blood pressure and it's very good. Yeah, but other study can show, if you really want, that it causes cancer. Okay, so it doesn't mean that don't use science. Of course, science achieved a lot of things, technology improved. So I'm not talking about science, but don't be blind. Don't have a kind of fanatic religious belief about science, that science is the absolute truth. No, especially when you want to sell a product, you want to argue that something is healthy or unhealthy, then you can always create studies or find studies that they will prove whatever you want to prove. And also, scientists are not angels. They get the salary from somebody, so they have to follow protocol, they have to follow, they have a purpose, they want to prove something. So, and they have the ego issues, They are competing for funds. They want to be famous. They want to publish books. If you just look at the health industry about different diets. Oh, high carb. Don't eat fat because the fat is bad. Oh, eat a lot of fat because carb is bad. And everybody, they're very scientific. They look very scientific. They have a PhD. They are the medical doctors. They are scientists, and they so confident. They prove everything that why fat is unhealthy and why carb is unhealthy. Very easy. Okay, so the main point that just because somebody is a scientist or using a scientific research, it doesn't mean that it is a valid evidence proof. But of course it doesn't mean that it's a lie. Just point that don't take it too seriously. Another element of the authority is the religious group. Of course the Bible said this, God said this, and so on, but they don't even understand that all of this, let's say, it's just a concept. So they refer this one as a proof, and maybe it works in a religious group, but actually most of the time the individual wants something and then just use God as a reference that's why you should do this, that's why you should believe this, because it's in the book, it's in God, or the priest told us. So science and religion basically very similar, that they use different authority tools to prove that they are right. It can be about expert, like a marketing expert in the marketing field of business. So, and that is a tool or reference that, oh, Einstein said this. So there's relativistic and everything. So you refer to some famous people. Okay, another authority is a famous person. The famous person said something, we quote the person, so we have a kind of proof that it's true. There are so many stupid arguments. Now, at least these arguments, what I mentioned, they try to find an external reference point that other people or a research, some methodology, but sometimes just like this, that I can feel it. My intuition tells me that it's true. So people use this to prove for themselves and prove to other people that they are right. So this is about the feelers, that they use their own feelings, their subconscious mind, the intuition. Intuition is when your subconscious mind communicates to your conscious mind, and if you don't pay attention to this, that you just ignore this, but maybe you are sweating in a situation and maybe it's an indication that your past experience told you that it's a dangerous situation, but consciously you are not aware of this. But so it can be useful using your intuition, but don't look at this as an evidence. And also the feelings, listen to your feelings, use this as one element of an evidence, but don't think that it is an absolute proof. But also don't ignore your feelings. So when you have to make a decision, when you have to argue about something, when you have to persuade yourself or other people, you can use emotion, feelings, intuition as one element of a mix. But don't take them too seriously. I can feel it. I'm okay. And the other is just this kind of word that I'm sure about this. Or referring to other people, everybody knows. Of course it's true. People just use this kind of thing that, it's logical and rational. That is another one. Another kind of argument tool is, it's logical because A is true. So of course B is also true. Okay? So let's say that you say that, hey, don't buy this yogurt because it has fat. And the assumption that the person accepts the truth that fat is harmful for your health. But actually, some other people believe that fat is healthy. So you use that because A, we can see that A is true, and there is a kind of open or hidden logic that it means that B is true. So you argue that something is true, but actually it is total arbitrary connection. Okay? And some argument is about not really word, but some people create institutions, so it's a long term. So you want to make, let's say that some people want to justify their power, so they create certain institutions, they create like election, democracy, parliament, and they control them. So this is a kind of argument that my power is legitimate. And yes, we can say that in some sense it can be legitimate because people elected, but on the other hand it's not, because not all the people have equal chance to become a prime minister or become a representative, a member of parliament, a legislator, and there is only just limited number. So it's a kind of fake argument. It has some validity, but basically it's not really. So people create institutions, but you can understand this better if you look at this, that they are just people. They are just people, and this person is telling other people what to do. They force the people to pay their tax, and then they cut their own parts of the salary, or put other people into prison because there are laws. But of course the law is just somebody created the law, and there are very few people approve the law, so they can use this as a justification. So all institutions, let's say political institution, legal institution, the prison system, the taxation system, it is a cover up, it is a kind of argument, a persuasion tool to make people believe that everything is legitimate. So it's a kind of objectification, that instead of saying that, hey, I don't like you, I put you in prison, you can say that no, what you did is against the law. Okay, but who created the law? Who had the power to influence the law? And what about of the judge? The judge, so somebody makes a judgment, who controls the judge? Okay, so this is the objectification. It is also a tool creating certain institutions. Let's say the marriage and the company. So companies are very good. You create a company, you borrow money, you pay it for yourself or to other people, then the company goes bankrupt and everything is okay. So you prove that you didn't do anything wrong, but actually you can also look at this that it's stealing other people's money, the bank's money or the lender's money. So we have institutions for everything to justify why certain people can do whatever they want. And the idea is that certain, let's say the elite of a society is already controlling the resources, and it's very easy to keep it and take this small risk that give free election to the people, but actually an ordinary citizen doesn't have any chance. And even if one specific individual has a chance, but actually there are a very small number of people who can get this powerful post, like getting elected in an institution. So when you are, it is about that free your mind to believing too much into your own argument, because it's not about just persuading other people, but it's really make yourself believe that you are right. No, whatever you say is total arbitrary. Your evidence that you think it's an evidence, it's not. It is the mind creates and the mind approves. There is no religious belief as an approval. Science is also a tool of manipulation. Politics, famous people, and sometimes the institution like the church, but not just church, it can be a political party. They create rituals. They have clothes, very uniform, maybe even ranks, to make it everything more believable and make people to feel that they want to move up in the ladder. They have songs, they have rituals, they have different titles that they can call each other, the bishop, the pope, okay, and they have funny hats and uniforms and different, they try to teach their own beliefs. So everything seems created institutions to make people believe that something is really exists in the real world, and they can make people follow or believe them easier.